This is lesson number 87 in Algebra 2, the slope formula. And it'll be kind of refreshing to do the slope formula since you've probably done it for a couple years and it should be old hat for you. So what we're going to do here is first of all explain what a slope is. The slope of a line is the change in the y-coordinate divided by the change in the x-coordinate as we move from one point on the line to another. So here is point 1 and here's point 2. So what I had said is the slope, which we use the letter M to identify slope, is the change in a triangle in science is a Greek letter, delta, and it means change in. So I use a little triangle just because it's easier to write than writing change in. Alright, so for some reason my pen isn't working very well. Alright, so the change in y over the change in x from one point to the next. So here's one point, here's my other point. Alright, so to go from one point to the next, what is my change in y? My change in y is the distance from here down to here. See where this is on this line and this is on this line? So the change is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had to go down 5 in order to get to the second point over my change in x. And how far did I have to go from here over to here? I had to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I had to go 8. So my change in y over my change in x is negative 5 over 8. Alright, when you do a slope, you will always get that fraction. I mean, sometimes you'll get a number like 2, but you make it a fraction by writing 2 over 1. Alright, so there is our way of finding slope. Now I want to show you something else. It's a little bit different. And we've got a change in y, I had mentioned, over a change in x. So let's look at another option. If I were to take my change in y, if I were to take my y value here and subtract my y value there, what do I get? 4 plus 1 is 5. What if I were to take my x value there and subtract my x value there? I get negative 8. This is the same as this. So I don't even need a picture. I just have to take the difference between my y's over the difference between my x's and I get a slope. Now what would happen if I did the exact same thing only backwards? What if I did, instead of starting with my 4 right there, this one here, what if I started with my negative 1 and I went backwards? I got confused and went the wrong way. Negative 1 minus my y value, 4, over 5 minus negative 3. So here I get negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. I get the right answer. This keeps you from making mistakes. Makes it nice. So you can make several different mistakes. Well, they're not really mistakes. They're just doing it differently and still end up with the right slope. The only big mistake you could make is, let's say that let's look at this middle one here. 4 minus negative 1. We went 4 minus negative 1. Then we went negative 3 minus 5. Okay, so if you start here and go 4 minus negative 1, you can't go 5 minus negative 3. If you started here and went 4 minus negative 1, the x you have to start here too. Okay, so you have to make sure that the coordinates of the first point are the first ones you use here, or the coordinates of the second point are the first ones you use. You can't make this be the first one and then this be from a different point. So they have to be situated that way. And that's pretty much it. So the formula for this is actually slope equals one of the y values, doesn't matter which one, minus the other y value, and I just put a 1 and 2 there just to designate that there's two different y's, over one of the y values minus the other y value. Alright, so knowing that information, let's go ahead and look at this other graph that I've got kind of hidden away there. And let's get this up here, and we'll move this up here. Alright, so first of all we have to label this point. This is point -3, 4. So we have to label the point. And this one here is 5, -1. Alright, so if we use this formula, we have m equals y2. Well, let's just use this 4 right here as my y2, minus y1, or y2, whatever, -1 over -3 minus, and it's always minus, 5. So this becomes 5 over -8. Okay? Now let's try one without a graph at all. We're going to throw out the graph completely using that formula, and let's say that I give you 2 points. Give you that one, and give you this one. Okay, so using this formula, we're going to have m equals one of our y values. Let's use the -5 as our first y value, minus another y value, and that would be 7, over one of our x values. So again, if I use this first, I have to use this one first, minus a -3. Don't forget to put the minus in here. This one doesn't necessarily take the place of this one. So then we get -12 over 5. Now let's switch those around. Let's say that we did it the other way, and we decided that we're going to use this as my first y value, minus -5 over -3 minus 2. So I started with these two first, right here, and I get 7 plus 5 is 12 over -5. So, same answer. Now again, I've got a negative here and a negative down here. It doesn't matter where the negative goes. You could actually write it as this as well, with the negative right there dab in the middle. Doesn't matter. As long as you only have one negative in your answer, it doesn't matter where you put it. It'll all work out. So let's look at example 87.2. We've got 2 points, -5 and 100, and that one. Okay, doesn't matter which one you use, you still have y2 minus y1, or y1 minus y2, doesn't matter. So, I'm going to use 100 as my y2, and then 57 is my y1 over -5 minus -33. So this is actually going to be plus, right? So 100 minus 47, or 57, is going to be 43, and -5 plus 33 is going to be 28. And you get that for your slope. And that is it for lesson number 87. So not too terrible. I do want to remind you, when you look at your homework, to go ahead and skip 8 and 9. We did not go over those, so make sure you don't do those, but I don't think you'll have any problem with the lesson.